I'm a fisherman. If you can see behind, it's Lake Malawi. I started doing my business of fishing in 1995. And during in 1995, we had plenty of fish in Lake Malawi. But as of now, no fish as it was in 1995.
The year is 2020, and it has been announced that Lake Malawi in Africa, the 9th largest lake in the world, which was once home to the largest number of different fish species of any lake in the world, has been declared officially dead, and there are virtually no fish left in the lake. This tragedy has been unfolding over the last 40 years in Malawi, one of the poorest countries in the world. So how did this happen, and so quickly? From 1980 to today, the population of Malawi has grown by nearly 400%, and the number of fishermen has increased by more than this percentage. In the early 80s, fishermen would catch as many large fish as they needed, but later they used nets that were up to 100 times longer, and they caught virtually nothing. At the same time, on the south of the lake, trawlers were scooping up large catches. Fish were a free resource for everyone, and there was little or no regulation. At the same time, subsistence farmers were cutting down huge areas of forest to grow crops, and when the rains came, the topsoil was washed away and ultimately ended up in the lake, destroying many fish breeding areas. Malaria has always been a problem in Malawi, and in the 1990s millions of mosquito nets were donated from wealthy countries in the West to protect the population from malaria. This had a devastating unforeseen consequence, as people found the fine meshed nets were perfect for catching fish. Women and children would catch baby fish with their mosquito nets in the shallow breeding areas. Commercial fishermen bought nets from new mothers who'd been given them to protect their young babies from malaria, and they would sew these together, sometimes up to 100 mosquito nets, to enable them to catch as many fish as possible. Meanwhile, the babies, who were supposed to be protected by the mosquito nets, were continuing to die from malaria. When the fish were finished in one area, the fishermen then migrated to new areas of the lake. The government fisheries department was powerless to stop this tragedy unfolding. They were under-resourced and didn't know how to tackle the problem. In less than a lifetime, the once abundant Lake Malawi was declared dead, with virtually no fish left in it. The year is 2016, and Ripple Africa, a British charity, has been working closely with the Fisheries Department and the local communities in Nkata Bay District, northern Malawi, with a community-driven fish conservation project. Led by Force and Guerra from Ripple Africa, they discovered that people were aware of the problem, but many did not know what was causing it, and no one knew what to do. Most people thought that it was the government's responsibility, but there was only one fisheries extension worker to look after 40 kilometres of lakeshore, and he had no fuel for his motorbike and no resources. Ripple Africa's philosophy is to provide a hand up, not a handout, and it very much believes in empowering local communities to take ownership and become the solution to their problems. Fish conservation committees were established along the lakeshore, and they explained to the local people the problems of overfishing and the solutions, which included very simple bylaws that everyone could understand. By using Ripple Africa's simple Fish for Tomorrow guide, the people were made aware that if they wanted fish for their children, they were responsible for managing this resource today. This meant they had to change the habits of all the members of their community, banning the use of mosquito nets for fishing, protecting fish breeding areas, using shorter nets with larger mesh sizes, and implementing a closed season for 3 months to allow the fish to breed and grow. Soon, fishermen were able to catch more fish and bigger fish and make more money. Fish conservation committees even started feeding their fish, and they were responsible for confiscating illegal nets and not letting migratory fishermen fish in the area. The communities worked together, and soon other areas along the lakeshore heard about this success story, and they wanted it in their area, and so the project began to spread. All too often, when aid agencies help the fishing communities, there is no ownership by the people. If Malawians are to manage their fish resource for the future, they have to do it, they have to believe in it, they have to own it. This Fish for Tomorrow project is a perfect example of Africans working together and helping themselves. But in order to do this, Ripple Africa and the Fisheries Department desperately need your support. At the moment, we have only managed to make this a reality along 80 kilometres of lakeshore in Nkata Bay district. The lake is 580 kilometres long and the third largest lake in Africa. We want to help train and inspire more fisheries staff and community members from other areas and help all Malawians avoid a future in which Lake Malawi has no fish.
Let's unite and fight together to conserve fish. We mustn't kill the young ones. Let fish breed and grow up.